This is one of my first projects as a residential designer, not certainly one of my first projects because I did this after about 30 years in the business in commercial design, so it was well-grounded. But this is a penthouse we did about 10,000 square feet, probably designed it I think about 12 years ago, and it was a very one of the early penthouses in Cole Harbour. It had originally a series of rooms in this space. It is our client was a recently single. Is it just this button here? Okay, sorry. Our client was well, that's a bit dim actually. It's not too good. Our client was a recently single man who had lived basically in a Shaughnessy home, very traditional home, for all of his life. He was in his late 50s. So we took him along and schooled him in how to live in a modern way in an urban environment. Most of our work is on a macro level. It seems, I think, quite simple, but on a micro level, I think there's a great deal of detail that goes into everything we do. And certainly it's about texture and pattern, detail of millwork and again, very simple palette. This penthouse had suffered from very low ceilings. So again, I think we just really chose to do very simple things. Conceal a lot of millwork, conceal a lot of utilitarian devices behind very simple millwork and closets and so forth. And again, I think, as Denise said in her presentation, we learned a lot. I think I've learned a lot I really brought a lot of commercial design skills into residential. I don't think of residential as I think of it more pragmatically, if you will. I kind of think of it more as a problem and a solution. This originally had two very small little fireplace inserts and a central wall dividing the dining room, living room. We decided it needed to have a major feature and also spectacular views, open it up to the views, and create intimacy through maybe having multiple dining tables, bring them together for larger events, small intimate evenings with a family, just have a single situation. Sure, I'm moving on. I'm not reading my notes, that's a problem. I've put together a series of basically mostly what I would call principal rooms here for this presentation, so really to show what space, and this is sort of what I would call quite a conventional home in West Vancouver, crown moldings, and probably a very high-end builder spec. We wanted to keep most of it in place, but still express a much kind of younger feeling for the client with two young children and a very very dynamic individual. This is the family room space, and she didn't want a television. She wanted a true family games room, conversation, and we just wanted to create a really comfortable, flexible place. So soft seating and stuff. I don't know. Whatever. It's decorating. We wanted to integrate some new millwork and obviously customize the home to some degree. But we didn't want to fall back on what would be considered, I think, just sort of typical in a space like this. So we chose to do millwork that would highlight her art collection. She had a lot of interesting artifacts from Africa, and the house somewhat reflects that a bit in terms of the way the wood and so forth is used, the glass, some of the Christian Lieg lamps, the iron and so forth. We used like a herringbone insert in the panel doors rather than just a typical shaker type door. So leather wrapped hardware and that kind of thing. I'm going to be sorry later. Yeah, just sort of a detail shown up a bit, simplified the existing fireplace, and just highlighted her. I think she was a really wonderful client who was. I think gave me the best compliment of any client ever. She just said the house was completely her, which is remarkable when you just meet someone and you have to sort of learn about them very quickly. This house, I'm not responsible for. This is a Russell Hollingsworth house in West Van. That is just a superb house. And when we came in, I think our job was to make it feel as rich with furnishings and accoutrement for living as the house does itself, because it is such a remarkably beautiful home. So in some ways, I mean, we wanted to do that, and we wanted to stay invisible. We just, we didn't want to leave our mark there. It's not our place. It was really just, I think, a very special home. So, and we tried to do that using kind of very classic furniture, some artisan pieces. Again, just try to integrate as much as possible within the conflict. I mean, the home has some dated elements and millwork and so forth, but yet they're appropriate. And I think that we always try to blow away everything dated, which I think is, just like we destroy buildings in the city because they're too brutalist or whatever. I think everything well done in a time, you should respect and keep. And that sort of was what we did, and we really didn't want to sort of blow in some big things or big moves that would change the context of the house. So again, it's about a 10,000 square foot house, but it is remarkably intimate. In fact, I almost think the rooms are almost small. The dining room is quite tight there, as you can see. It doesn't have any grandiose kind of feeling to it. The living room is sort of just sunken in. There was some original sort of banquettes that were very uncomfortable, very Frank Lloyd Wright kind of banquettes that were done this. We wanted to create some lushness in the space to play against all the stone and the wood. But the house is super cozy, and of course the view is remarkable, as it is. I'm just going to put this in because it's great the way he originally incorporated the stone of the site into the cinema room in this case. And again, our place was just to make it feel more homey and cozy and just float things within the space. I'm not being nearly academic as you, so I'm just like, I really know. Okay. Yeah, beautiful outdoor space. And again, just, the idea of, I just think it was wonderful the way he created rooms, so I just wanted to show them. Obviously, it's a privilege to work on a house like that, just to walk around in it and to be in it. This was just a house I think we did it just a few years ago. I think it was in West Germany. I think I'll say it. It was a little house in not a little house in Carrisdale. It was a big house in Carrisdale, very traditional plan. Cross hall, dining, living, but clients were really young, and we were building this very kind of what I would call a very traditional home, but they didn't want to live that way. So we chose to make the interior very simple, and it worked on a number of levels. So this room has lovely high ceilings, and we just sort of exaggerated them with sort of delicate drapery. Again, not a large room, more of a sitting room than really a living room. And just a very kind of pretty space. Clients, it's very budget friendly too. I mean, there's a West Elm rug on the floor here. I mean, it's just wasn't a high budget interior. They sort of blew the budget on the house and the property, and we just kind of tried to make it look, very young. Yeah. But the idea of single room living, which is kind of what this talk is supposed to be about, or big rooms. So well-programmed space that is does a lot of functions and makes the most of it. So we've got a great bench seat, great family dining, and basically this is where the family is all the time. They live in this space completely. There's some referencing to kind of more, I guess, what it would be more of a classical kind of or traditional interior with the coffers in the ceiling. They also hide, mechanical and devices as well again, but they kind of reference the outside of the house as well because we didn't want to completely ignore it, but we also wanted maybe to give it an impression that was maybe something that had been renovated. Again, I'm gonna. Just click along. Another kind of, this is a smaller apartments we did for an art dealer I just included it because we moved some of the walls. It was a really nice, nimble kind of space, just a mother and son space, and we took a lot of the partitions out, but I was thinking on the handout, it sort of talked about warm, and I think warm means different things to different people. I mean, for this client, this was warm, and which was really, if everything could be white, and maybe, the wood could just even not have any grain, she would be very, very happy. So, contemporary art enthusiast as well anyways. I'm just gonna kind of flip through it. I don't think I have as much to kind of say about this as I thought. Again, we just kind of opened it up. It's, we gave up a bathroom to make the kitchen bigger, which is quite unusual to do, I think, in a client like that. It's kind of little TV room, sits off the kitchen, just a very kind of open space for art and what have you. moving right along, another project. This one is a little penthouse we did for a long-time client. We've kind of chipped away at it for years, and then finally his life circumstances changed, and he became a bachelor, and we just redid the entire apartment for him at that time. So just kind of tried to bring it together. It was a kind of, again, kind of odd architecture. It's a nice little penthouse on 2 levels, not a lot of square footage, but it has some great height to it, and it's great windows, and really just by kind of reinforcing some horizontals, giving up some of the windows to do that, just to create a line in this space was important. Again, really simple palette as always, but I think creating interest out of textures and fabrics and detailing and wood and marble and stone and what have you, and always bringing kind of art into the picture. So yeah, I think that we commissioned this piece by Tico Kerr to do it. We had it specifically lit, and the client is a big fan of his and had collected some of his work in other properties. So again, we blew out the kitchen, tried to create more horizontal space rather than everything being quite so vertical in the environment. Again, that's more academic of me. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what else. Whistler property that started out as a kitchen renovation and then became like a 3-year tear the house down and find out that it has no structure project. So we added like 12 feet to the living room and just kind of took it out into the trees and just wanted to create, again, a kind of a different Whistler experience. Something, again, a very young contemporary family that they could relate to. So that kind of materiality, a room where everyone would hang out all the time. So it's the sort of the only public space in the house. Everything else is sort of bedrooms and bathrooms. And so this is where everyone shows up. Just a lot of use of French oak, vertically, horizontal, everywhere, right? We just kind of used it everywhere there, and then kind of balanced that off by trying to create more sort of white space, more blank space as well, because there's a lot of, the trees are kind of this fantastic wallpaper that we sort of took that part of the living room right out, and then we decided that the bedroom ceilings heights weren't high enough, so then they took the roof off, and that was like another year. So yeah, it's a very long process. So, but again, just a really big, commodious seating area, big family dining, some reference to some fun things with the antlers and so forth. I hate those snowshoes. I did not put those there. I would never. I thought about climbing up and taking them down, but I didn't. I should have. And now I really wish I had, or photoshopped them out. Anyways, I'll just try to continue. Yeah. I mean, I like this shot a lot because I like the fact that there's nothing there. There's just some, again, places to rest your eye and to kind of enjoy the height of the space as well. Sometimes you want to exaggerate it. Again, that was the kitchen that we started out with. But yeah, it became kind of a non-event after everything else, really. Kind of a deconstructed fireplace. Originally, there was a big boulder river rock fireplace there, which is sort of typical Whistler, and we just wanted something pulled back and kind of tighter, and we used the blackened metal and the logs to break it up, kind of as you would maybe with a building, kind of deconstructed a bit through multiple materials and kind of different geometries. Again, just there's the dining space, which I kind of just love, because it's just the table and that, right? This is a big penthouse we did on 2 levels for a client that actually had owned the Radcliffe house previously, and they sold it, and they bought the Fairmont penthouse. And we went through a process of designing it. The spaces were really good. I mean, we really didn't have to do a whole lot. So for us, it was really about creating for them just a super calm environment. They're very global. They're always on their plane. They just fly around the world. So they were only here very, sporadically, and they would just show up once in a while. So when they arrive, for them, it's always very, very simple space, and they really just, Zen is kind of a word that is always used with them. Again, they're huge fans. We started using Zoe Lindeck's rugs in the house in Radcliffe, and we continued here. And we've actually continued in a number of other properties as well to use her amazing rugs, which we love so much. anyways, so entry space, I mean, it was really great space. We just really simple details throughout, just walnut base, walnut doors, simple oak floor throughout, and then just really kind of very quiet. The idea of just letting the view be everything, and it's I don't know. There was a couple of really inappropriate electric fireplaces that were in that, and they just seemed that you could not have a house of this stature with an electric fireplace. So not that there's anything wrong with them, because in the right place, but it's just wasn't right here. So rather than try, we weren't able to, because of the post-tension slab, we weren't able to put in gas fireplaces. So we just treated them as these kind of these architectural elements, which I quite like, and I kind of like the fact that it's kind of, again, not so much of a wow, it's just really quiet and has a very quiet painting in it, and just has this kind of really it's like exhaling at this place. It always was for me. It's kind of just a very nice feel about it. And of course it has, the remarkable view around everywhere. So again, the amazing really rug. There was just an unfortunate wall that was separating that space. So rather than just sort of do anything else, we just draped it because of acoustics, to try to keep everything very quiet. And we do have drapery on the other wall, floor to ceiling as well. What else can I tell you anecdotally? I don't know. Yeah.
How long is that sofa?
The sofa is 14 feet long. Yeah, so it's a very big room. I mean, sometimes you would choose to, in a room like this, you may choose to do multiple seating groups. I don't know, at some point I just decided that I didn't want to do that, and I mean, the client's pretty good about just going along with what we do because we've worked for them enough. So I just felt like I wanted to make a bigger statement and not do a lot of bitty things, and just have things that were, not big proportion in terms of robustness, but in terms of just a scale, and that suited the room and balanced it off well. I mean, basically, it's all very understated furnishings for other than those chairs, which, again, I would never have chosen, but the client loved them and insisted on having them in that space. And I actually quite like them because they're so unusual, and because I've never really seen anyone else use them. So it's sort of nice that they chose. It's like there was a wall behind there, and just rather than do art or anything else up there. The acoustics in the room when we first looked at it they're very bouncy. Obviously there's a great deal of glass. You want to show off the view as much as you can. So there's a lot of hard surfaces. So that just allowed us to have something acoustical in the room, that and the rug. And this wall on this side here is floor to ceiling drapery as well. So of the same make or fabric. Ideas just in bedrooms. And again, I think in large rooms, I like the idea of a poster bed of some kind, because I just think it kind of, again, creates a smaller space within a bigger space. This isn't that huge of a space, but it's just kind of as references back to the next room, which is the master bedroom suite, which is a bigger space. And again, I'll just talk a bit about that, which is, again, we used the bed again. So again, very, very soft plush materials, lots of drapery. There's a beautiful view, but you don't always want to see it. Sometimes there's too much view in your life. And also when you come, no, yeah, I think that's true. You just want, you want to sleep. Time, especially if you're coming in on a plane or something. So the idea is you could block the room out, just create this really hush. In some ways, it's kind of akin to a really high-end hotel. I mean, in some ways, the room is just really, that's the feel of it. But very plush materials, very soft, and again, lots of detail up close, but very simple overall, and leather doors and the wraps, again, for that quiet, that idea of quiet, which was something that was kind of the mantra as we went through the process of the project. Bathroom, which is which is one material basically, and a walnut vanity. So it just is really just, again, the idea of quiet, and I think sometimes in big spaces people want to sometimes maybe do more. I don't know, but sometimes I just want to do less. This is a penthouse we're working on, which is quite amazing in LA. It's about 20,000 square feet on 2 levels with a swimming pool, and it has this is just quite an enormous living room. But I just thought I'd bring it because we're supposed to be talking about large spaces. So here's one. It's one, and again, it's just a really some very conventional plan, which is kind of what I am I think drawn to, plans that kind of work for people, I mean, I always think that of everything, when we plan anything, it's always about like, how do you use it, and how do you sit there, how do you talk to someone, and I like the idea of this room kind of flows for big groups or small groups as well. Anyways, it's also got 24-foot ceilings, so don't have just the next slide. Just at the end there was a bar in front of the dining space, and we're looking at doing some kind of a plaster relief on the wall above that. It's kind of framed as more of an architectural piece, because LA has this great Art Deco history, and just we wanted to really kind of reference something about that. And every project we try to do something that's kind of unique to it, and either client driven, or site driven. Again, just this stair going up to the next level. That's sort of the big elevation, which sort of gives you a sense of it goes. There's a mezzanine as well, with sort of a 24-high wine room, and just really simple panels, and big Lindsay Edelman chandeliers, sort of custom sized. But again, just to kind of take some of the space and make it more delicate and make it more human in scale, which is door to the elevator and things like that. So. Again, some coffers in the ceiling to overtake. I won't worry you too much with that. It has a really giant kitchen as well. And then this is just a Photoshop rendering from what we've done of it. And again, the very 16-foot ceiling, so ladder to access your Christmas platters and things that you'd never need, but will not give up. Yeah. Very simple, and kind of that's the palette of it. And I'm showing this because it's raining a lot outside. And this was a house we did in Punta Mita, and it's actually in Western Living this month, so I thought I would close with it. It is a really beautiful Balinese-style house set on a golf course overlooking the ocean and the Bay of Banderas. Yeah. It's just, and the house is really, the living space is just really formed with furniture under this very open roof, open to sort of a jungle garden. And as you enter the house, you walk down this long hall with this wonderful ceiling treatment. Breakfast room, which I love, it's just trees, no walls, nothing. We've had many great breakfasts there. Like hits of color, trying to obviously reference Mexico and Barragan and his great interesting use of color as well. So, and picking it up with the foliage, because it's already there. So it's color that I would rarely ever use, but I've used here a lot. Again, just more of the house, the idea of the palapa overlooking the pool and space. And big scale furniture, again, I think that sofa is, again, I think 16 feet long or something. It's going to look short here, but it's all really big pieces, and yeah, giant coffee tables. Just kind of, I like the idea of big anchors to hold that space together. When we installed the furniture, it was the day the hurricane was coming in. And so I kept saying, we need to leave. We need to leave. So I'm a chicken. And this house has no walls. So anyway, so we put everything in place, and they quickly put it all away, and then we quickly ran to the airport and put it away. But the point is, I just like the fact that the furniture does anchor the space and kind of creates the solidity of the room, and kind of brings the focus in of everything as well. So anyways, I think that's kind of it. Bedroom. Terrible color, sorry, it's really bad. We should have digitized that. We made them smaller so we could send them, but I don't think we should have. Anyways, you just walk off into the pool. It's a nice flow of, just again, that idea of spaces that just flow into each other. Bedroom flows into that pool. I'm going to speed this up because Mitchell needs to talk. Yeah, that's just off the roof deck, which wasn't being used when they bought the house, and we just created sort of a very nice place to hang out. Yeah, again, more spaces. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks.